My name is Thane Bishop, and I love Warhammer 40,000. I have been playing some form of 40k related game for over a decade now, starting with Dark Heresy and Black Crusade, two of the TTRPG formats set in the universe, and I'm also a big fan of some of the video games, with my current favorite being Space Marine 2, also known as My Dress-Up Space Marine. I've even got a growing collection of novels set in the universe, and have been pleasantly surprised by the quality of writing and storytelling present in some of these books. That said, it is not the TTRPGs, of which there are even more these days, nor the video games, nor the novels that truly hold my heart. Because for the last 2 years, my favorite thing from 40k has been, and likely will always remain, the tabletop wargame. I recognize that if you're here, watching this, it's probably because you've been kind enough to pop over from my main channel to support a little side project, but that also means you might not know much about the 40k wargame, or 40k at all, and while it's definitely not easy to describe what a wargame is to someone who hasn't played one themselves, you can just think of it like big weird chess with lots more rules and a full-size craft hobby stapled on top of it all. Imagine if, to play chess, you had to carve out and paint your own pieces. This is how the Warhammer 40k do. A full-sized army for the game is made up of different types of units and models from different factions, with each model and unit having different weapons and abilities that they can use, and also a certain point cost for fielding them. There's loads of different sizes and styles of game to choose from, but the most common is called Strikeforce, known colloquially as a 2,000-point game, meaning that your full ensemble of little guys needs to have a point cost as close as possible to 2,000 even without going over. Now, I'm not so foolish as to try and explain the vast totality of 40k to you in this singular video. The lore and structure of 40k is so large and titanic that people have made entire careers for themselves just explaining it all, so let me establish a neat, clean, singular goal for this series. I want to play in the 2026 Rocky Mountain Open. Now, you probably don't know what that is. You might not have even known that the Rocky Mountains could open, so let me hold your hand for just a moment. 40k is an inherently competitive thing, with two players squaring off with their collections of little guys and dice to see whose plastic reigns supreme at the end. But naturally, you might ask, what happens if you were to scale this up? What happens if you take, say, 100 people, 200 people, 1,000 people, and put them all in one place to play against each other to see whose models are truly the most special little guys? Well, that's what tournaments are for, and the Rocky Mountain Open is one such event. While not so prestigious as the Las Vegas Open or the London Grand Tournament, the RMO is the largest tournament relative to my local area, and for that reason, I want to be a part of it this year. Okay, so why not just sign up? Ah, right. Yes, the sensible thing. You want to do the thing, so just do the thing. 3 problems. I don't have an army. Okay, this one takes some explaining, because you see, at this present time, I have something like 1,000 points of Tyranids, 2,000 points of Tau, 2,500 points of Imperial Knights, 5,000 points of Sisters of Battle, and 16,000 points of Space Marines. So I have enough to field an army. Yes, I have enough to field like 13 or 14 armies all at the same time if you break it down. But the thing is, 40k models and units and all of that are very similar to, say, Magic the Gathering cards. It literally does not matter how many cards you have, until you've assembled them into a deck that's properly sized for your gameplay format. You don't actually have anything to play with. And I don't think I've ever once played the same list twice in all my time in the hobby. And that leads us to problem 2. Basically, nothing I own is battle ready. You see, 40k models don't come ready to play. 40k is a sort of multi-step hobby, wherein the models need to be built from individual bits as part of a kit, and then those assembled models need to be painted. This doesn't need to be super complicated, even though I'm quickly approaching admiration bordering on hate for some of the best in the hobby, but it does need to be done. Having an army in full color is a really big deal, and not just because most tournaments either require or reward it, but because it also just feels good to look at a fully painted, purpose-built collection and know that you did that. That you can put an army on the board and be proud of both it and yourself. I want that feeling. But the problem is that across my entire collection, I only have like 5 models that would pass this battle-ready check because I just sort of don't really know how to paint models like this. Of course, the biggest problem is that I'm not very good at actually playing 40k. My best friend and I meet for a game or two every week, but at this point, it's really just a convenient excuse to hang out with a friend on a routine schedule. Jay is just such a strong and capable player, piloting a faction that he's learned so well that just by nature of the dynamic alone, he's basically won any game we play just by showing up to the table. The Rocky Mountain Open starts on May 2nd, so I have just 80 days to figure out an actual structured list full of models and units that I like and know how to play, to get those units painted to a battle-ready standard, and then use those models to destroy Jay on an atomic level. Or at least stop giving him so many free wins. And that is why I'm here, on this channel. It can be said that embarrassment is the price of entry, and that's always been a high cost for me, so were it up to my own motivations, I would not play in the Rocky Mountain Open. I would not paint my minis. I would not assemble a specific army and learn how to play it. I would just keep doing whatever it is I'm already doing, and refuse to pay that cost of entry. But if I invite you along for the ride with me, then it's not just up to my own motivations. There's support and healthy expectations and people to share that excitement and pride and embarrassment with. I want to grow in this direction. And I want to show you all that growth. Which means it's time to start. Truthfully, it was time to start like 2 months ago. And so I'm proud to say, that's what I did. I cleaned and organized my studio. I organized my entire garage, at least as best as I could, so that I could set up a painting station. And then I used that painting station to put a primer coat on every single Space Marine model I own. Seriously, I burnt through 6 cans of spray paint to begin the process of painting a total collection of 518 models. And upon review of some of that footage, I noticed that I was looking a bit more full-bodied than I remember being, and sure enough, during my depressive era of the entire second half of last year, I managed to put on like 25 pounds in 6 months, so I made the call to really lean hard into this arc of my life as a season of growth, and so in addition to all of this painting and practice, I've also started running at the gym again. I've started getting more specific and analytical about what I want to play, what models I like, what army rules I enjoy, and I even, for the first time in a long time, managed to beat Jay and his Imperial Guard. So, here's how things are gonna go. I will be here every Friday until the Rocky Mountain Open to document my growth as a person and as a player. And I'd be very happy to see you all come along for it. Here's to a new project.